All right, 7 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the November meeting of the Township Board of Supervisors. Before we start, I'd like to invite everyone to stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda, would someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th meeting of the board? I'll make that motion. About a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. All right, public comment. Angelo Colorado.
Oh, that was deep. Quick. I'm here to discuss the intersection of, I live in Blue Heron Village, and pulling out from from Christmas Road to 143 is rather dangerous. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that. Just seeing if there's anything the township can do. I don't think any of those trees are in the right of way. And I'd be willing to talk to the people that own the trees to see if anything can be done as far as removing some of those trees, especially on the left side. It's not so bad on the right side now that the leaves are coming down, but even the right side in the summertime, because of the bend there, I mean, you pull out and somebody can be on your butt within, 20, 30 feet of you. So that's basically what I was here to discuss, if there's any options. Again, I'd be willing to ask the people if they would allow it, and I want to see if the township maybe would do the work to remove the trees. So
Well,
I know I'm not going to get a decision tonight. I just wanted to.
Yeah, we're not in the business of removing other people's trees. Are you familiar with it, Ben?
Yeah, it's along 143. It's, I believe it's Chrisman that lives up on the hill there and stuff.
Is it
It's their trees.
Desiree?
No, I think it was Dennis's parents. I think it is. They're at the intersection.
Yeah, I lived in
the ranch up on the top there.
Is it on their property?
It's their property and stuff. It's off the right of way, but when you stop there, you look to your left and all you see is the trees. You actually have to pull out on the 143 to actually see what's coming from the Lenhartsville side.
Well, how long has the driveway been there?
It's a long time.
The trees get bigger as time goes
Yep.
by.
Yeah, the trees are not actually on the driveway. They're along 143.
Yeah,
But my point is
yeah,
the driveway has been there a long time, and the trees could have been small when the driveway was put in.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not talking
this
about
is
the driveway.
Chrisman
I'm
Road.
talking about the actual
Chrisman
Chrisman
Road.
Road.
Well, even that road was there.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to. I lived in Greenwich Township for many years before I moved to Windsor Township, and there was the same situation there, pulling out on 737. Some of you know that road, some of you may not. And because of the dangers of that, the township was able to come in and clear that triangle, even though it was not their property. I don't know how they did it. So, I'm just here to not argue with anybody. I'm just here to point that out and see if anything could be done.
If you want to take a look at it, see if we can send them a letter.
Well, before you start doing that, okay? The
I said I don't mind going and
trees
asking.
are on,
Yeah.
in the right of way or not in the right of way?
I don't believe the trees, what is it, 5 feet from the road? I don't believe the trees they're just off the right of way. They're probably 6, 7 feet, but I think they're just outside the right of way.
They're about 8 feet off the road. Because when we used to mow it, we made 2 passes there and then hit the tree.
So if Ryan, you go out there and they're on private property, what can you do about that?
I can't do anything unless there's a sight distance issue.
That's the part I'm talking about. There is a site.
Why don't we-
But the sight distance issue might not, it depends. Because it sounds like 143 and where the trees are lined up is a PennDOT. That's all PennDOT, right? Like, so then it would be a PennDOT issue and probably should be reported to PennDOT.
Okay, why don't we take the course of action? Ben, can you check it, do a visual on it?
Take some photos.
Okay, and the next meeting we will see if it's appropriate to send Ryan out. Because I'm not sure what Ryan's gonna do. If it's on a PennDOT road, you come back and what,
I would take pictures and send it to PennDOT, if it's, if
Yeah,
it's.
if it's a PennDOT issue, I can deal with them, that's fine, I thought it was a township,
No, 143 is PennDOT.
yeah, because of the site clearance triangle, but if it's a PennDOT thing, I'll
Sounds
gladly
like kind of-
take the issue up with them.
They-
I don't-
They would've got their.
We don't need to use taxpayers' money for that, I'll talk to PennDOT.
Yeah, they would've got their permit from PennDOT to join their driveway to their road.
No, the driveway.
Yeah, the driveway's not the
Out
issue.
Christmas.
The driveway actually pulls out on Chrisman Road.
It's our intersection with
It's
143.
the intersection of Chrisman Road and 143. I'm not talking about anybody's private driveway.
But it
That's
sounds
good.
like the trees are off.
Yeah,
Off.
they're,
So if I came up to Chrisman and I was gonna make a left, I think I know what you're talking about, the trees are up on the left,
Yes,
but on the 143 side of the road.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's PennDOT. So I would get some pictures and then send it to PennDOT. And say, and ask them to check the site distance. For the speed, I think the speed's 40 miles an hour there,
That's
45.
45.
Ooh, that's really wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Stopping site distance usually 400 or something.
Yeah, true.
45 to the drive, 55.
All right, you can take care of all that, Ben?
Here, I can show you exactly where it's at real quick, see if you understand. This is, unfortunately it's on my phone. This is Chrisman Road, this is, oops. This is what I'm talking about. You need trees right here. This is the private driveway that goes to Summit.
It's the lens right there.
The
Yeah,
limbs are hanging over.
No, it's a tree, it's a tree
the
trunk.
trunk.
That's who owns that.
Really?
The way that the road
But
goes.
But these are the
What?
trees in
Yeah.
question, right,
It does curve there, doesn't it?
A slight curve.
right there.
You didn't stay
Those are
back and look
trees.
between
And
the.
it's also in the summertime, it's also this
But-
clump here.
But
Because when they're standing
143
there,
though.
So
They
those,
have a
those
big
aren't just
ultimate right away.
native trees, those
They
are
could be
planted
on the
trees
right.
that appears.
They have
They
it.
planted-
well,
Because I-
they're walnuts, they're walnuts,
That's
they're, I don't know if
Okay.
they're planted or they
That
grew
was
along the
like
road.
80.
They're all, yeah, these are large walnuts.
Yeah, up
The
here,
ones
under the
over
old
here,
22 or
it's
the
just,
old
it's just
22.
past
So when
ones.
he
I mean, they've been there
said
for a long time. I'm not
60
gonna
feet,
say,
what we're thinking
you know,
is
they're
that's
there or not.
outside
It's
the
just that
33-foot right of way.
they've gotten
Correct.
bigger and bigger and bigger.
But if it's
I'll take it up with
60
PennDOT,
foot or
yeah.
80-foot right away, those trees are
Thank you.
smack in the right of way.
Yeah, but even if it's a site distance issue, they would be fine.
All right, thank you for your time.
Yeah, if you need a contact, I mean, I'll be, send an email.
All right, thank you. Carl Merkel, you're up. Yeah, he's on, well, we can take care of him now if that's, if we want. That's under old business.
Plans are here. They've been properly signed by the record owners. I spoke with the Merkel's attorney about this a couple of times. I think I mean, you can certainly entertain a motion tonight to approve the plan and you can sign them. The only issue is that the planning commission is getting the planning commission signatures. I have it marked here that this was approved October 15th, because that was the last planning commission meeting when they made the conditional recommendation. The issue is just getting the signatures, and whether you want to go to each of the, you contact the planning commission members and get signatures, or if you want to wait until the December meeting to get the signature, which is the next time they meet. It'll all be in one place.
Okay.
But I don't see any reason why you can't sign the plans tonight, so that if Mr. Merkel wants to go and find the planning commission members and get them to sign it, that he can then get it recorded before that December meeting.
And he still has the 90 days from the approval.
He has 90 days, you have 90 days from the approval, so even if he waits until December, you'll be okay.
Okay. Is there any way we could sign them tonight, and could you take them to your office and ask 3 of the planning commission members to come into the office to sign them, or should he ask them?
I mean, I can take him to the office, I
And
won't,
that way he could
They
pick them
won't-
up.
Well, that's what the guy from Crossroads that did the
Yeah.
prints, that's what he kinda told me was gonna happen. If they were here tonight and it was approved by the supervisors, either the plans would be left here and some, people
Yeah.
from the planning commission would stop it here and sign them, or
I
they
can,
would,
I can take him to my office and have them come in. They won't get there till next week, because they won't be in the Hamburg office till Monday, but they'll get there and then they'll come in and sign them.
Yeah, that way you can get them sooner.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's only a few days ago.
Yeah, and then once they're signed, then we'll let Nicole know,
Okay,
so that she can let you know.
all right.
So the action would be the supervisors approve the plan. They
Correct.
sign them that way. You take them to sign, you just need planning commission signatures.
Yeah, planning commission's already acted on this,
Active, but not signed.
not signed, correct.
Yeah, because the plans weren't appropriate at the time. They had to be redone.
Correct.
Well, I'd like to make a motion then that we give the Merkle subdivision plans approval, that we can sign them tonight. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
So we'll sign them at the end of the meeting, and then I'll take them back to my office.
Okay. Are you gonna be keeping all the copies? Where, I don't know where that many go.
Russell, excuse me, the engineer was in to deliver them, and the arrangements are, I would give him a call and explain what's gonna happen as to, you know, they have to be recorded in the courthouse,
Right.
and then two copies after that's done, come back to the township. And arrangements are that I'll give him a call, so he knows what's happening.
Did you find the seal? Don't you have the seal as well?
We're gonna have to seal them, yeah,
Did you find it?
not yet, but I
Okay. All right. You're good to go, Carl.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, that's it for public comment. We'll go into the reports, the financial status.
If you have a handout, just the highlights of where we stand right now. The first page, of course, is the revenues that we have received. You notice again, 301.1 real estate current year, the better part of $40,000 is what we receive with that. If you add up the delinquent and whatever, it's roughly around $40,000 for the millage that's now established for Windsor Township. Of course, the largest amount of income is line item 310.21, earned income, and there's still 2 months for the reception, so that will definitely be over $400,000. If we take all accounts, you notice because of the road work that was done, the interest that was received in the American Rescue Fund was the better part of $12,000. And you then notice then that total money was transferred from the American Rescue Fund and is part of the general fund. So if you look at line item on the second page, 492, you notice that American Rescue Fund monies has now been expended. Total revenues received in all accounts as of today, a little bit over $1 million. Expenditures at this point, if you look then on the second page, that is a little bit more because of all of the road work we have done. And hopefully next year will be more in the blue rather than in the red. Any questions concerning financial status? Anyone?
Spent a lot of money this year.
Yeah.
Any comment? No? All right, thank you. All right, engineer, zoning officer, code enforcement.
Okay.
Stevens.
I will do number 1, and then I'll turn it over to number 2, 3, and 4 to Ryan. So number 1 is the park, I'll call it LSA grant application that is being processed. The resolution, the minimum amount for this statewide local fund is $25,000, so I put it at 30, just to give you a little fluff. And then I'll work with Craig on getting quotes for all the different pieces, the gutter, the painting, the carpentry, and all those different things. It's not going to require public wage rates because they're all different trades, so we can break it up. So it's just a matter of getting some other local contractors that can give me a good quote that I can put into my engineer's estimate. So I'm looking for the approval to adopt this resolution in the amount of $30,000 to submit the grant to DCED for funding to do all those park improvements that were discussed the other month.
Any comment?
No?
I have a comment, Pamela. So I'm, relatively new to this process, and you work with SDS Engineering Design Services, right? Or SDS,
right.
okay. So you or someone on your staff is like a professional grant writer?
Yes, there's many of us that are grant writers.
Okay.
Yes, several of us are.
So I guess my question is, we're already, you were asking down this path, all right? I imagine there's all kinds of grants out there to be obtained.
Mhm.
What cost are we incurring to, play all these lottery tickets, essentially, okay? Is there a risk-reward benefit,
Correct.
right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's
Okay.
typically we do T&M. On the average, they range from about 1,000 to 2,500 depending on the complexity. This is a very streamlined, very simple one, so we're looking at maybe the $750 to $1,000 max.
The permit itself is $100.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I did not know that. That wasn't discussed, okay? I haven't really, I was only shown
The application, basically.
for 30 seconds, okay? I don't even know what
It's the list, my understanding is I'm putting it together for the list of the improvements that are needed at the park to keep it.
right, I understand, I
Safe.
understand.
So, but yes, we all are pretty proficient in grants. I've done, I think it's 6 this month through Multimodal, LSA, Main Street Matters, Green Light Go. So we do have a variety of grants. We just attended a Park and Recreation grant too that I think if this doesn't go through, I can put you people in touch. You can actually reach out to the Park and Rec liaison through DCNR.
Okay. I'm just
so there are avenues.
my
This was
concern
just-
is the risk reward, okay? There's grants out there you might give to one municipality in the US. I mean, are we gonna chase that?
No.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at here,
Right.
okay? So the probability of this $1,000 being spent is, to get this funding is what? The odds?
For the smaller ones, a lot of times they'll fit those in. It's the bigger ones that they really, the politicians like really have to barter and argue.
Okay,
Tiny little ones we're seeing plunked in.
okay.
So I think you have a good opportunity, like the wall. The wall was $780,000, our last LSA grant that we went for. Turned down. But if I showed you, what I could do is there's a list of the LSA grants that were just awarded. You could see the little, big, little, big, little, big.
Mhm.
They're all over the place.
Okay.
And that gives you the feel for they probably have a list of the big ticket awards, and then they see what's left in their various constituents, counties, and locations, and then they'll say, well, how about this, how about this, how about this, since they fit it in. So just because it's a little request, it's not ignored.
Mhm. Okay.
But
Okay.
yes, there are some other opportunities, and what I'm trying to do is, as the department manager, keep these grants fresh in everybody's minds and
Okay.
give you an ongoing list, because some of them are every few years, some of them are annual.
Okay.
This LSA, the Berks County, I'll call it the local one, and then the statewide one are annual.
Okay. I think what I'm asking is, going forward, I think we should get the board to approve that all three, okay? And give an estimate what the cost is going to be.
Sure,
And we're taking a recommendation, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying,
sure.
we don't want to go down a rabbit hole and we've got a
Right.
$10,000
No,
bill
no,
on
no.
it. You know what I mean?
I would be very,
Yeah,
very
you know what I mean?
cognizant of what the expenditure is here.
Okay, so can we do that going forward then?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm
So
still looking for a motion if
I
you
have
so
one.
desire.
I got a question. What is this all going for the 30,000?
It's the list.
Basically, Roger's list.
Roger's
that he
list.
came in.
Well, what for sealing you going with, to keep the?
Well,
birds
we'll
in?
get it all depends. We get quotes and everything to see where the quotes run. Like, what did we pay for a load of mulch last time we got it?
I don't remember what it was.
Well, we can find that out from
Correct.
Craig.
We
Yes.
could do an inclusive
You
and
know.
get away from that, because that only lasts 2 to 3 years.
Well, I had put in asked for 2 loads. And if there's extra, you just bring it,
200, I think.
yeah, 200 cubic yards.
Yeah, but then in 2 years, we're gonna be replacing the mulch again.
What are you proposing, Ben?
Huh?
What are you proposing?
Well,
What's all inclusive? What is that? Is that type of mulch or what do you,
it's a product they put in instead of mulch.
like
What?
rubber?
It's like a poured rubber thing that the wheelchairs can go on and stuff. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna spend this money, what are we spending to fix up there?
Well, the question
Is
is,
it for
are
the
we,
top lot or is it for the pavilion?
are
It was
we
definitely
fixed,
for
if we get the
everything.
funds, can we do what we want with them within reason? Or are we getting,
Because do we have to,
$30,000.
but are you right in there 2 loads of wood mulch? You are. So we can't put Ben's rubberized product.
It's either or.
I agree.
it's a, it's
We
either,
agree
like, do
what,
we have to
either
give a
or?
list of what we're
Well,
doing?
in other words, we're doing a list, that's your wish list. Then you could work with the grant liaison to say, hey, you gave us this money, these other quotes came in less. Can we, instead of buying the regular mulch,
So there's flexibility.
there's flexibility.
Okay.
So they're giving you a pocket of money.
Okay.
You're showing how you arrived at that pocket of money. They want to give you all that money.
Yes. But
But
if
there
Ben-
is-
if Ben finds a better product, it can be changed.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
Yes.
that's, does that
Well,
make
no,
sense?
well, that's, but
But you can't go over it.
Well,
They're not, they won't give you more
that's what I
than
was
your
trying to figure out,
grant.
how we came with that number for 30,000.
Well, 25 was the lowest amount you could get.
Yeah, but
So
that's
we
what,
have-
that's what I was asking, what are you trying to accomplish with this?
Well, if we come up with $45,000 worth of work and they give us 30, you do $30,000 worth of work.
That's right.
Well,
And you
that's-
just
that's what I'm
kick some
just
stuff
trying to
out.
I mean,
figure
this
out, yeah.
resolution, you can, I mean, you
So-
can cross that out and
I mean,
change it.
Rain gutter was one to get, and the mold on the back.
The
Pressure
sliding-
washing
The sliding door.
and painting the outside and the inside.
Okay. That's all. Just
And
question.
we had Jeff Schlichter was the last one that painted the building for us.
And then there's carpentry work, the sliding door.
To
the other
replace the
safety,
door,
I think the
I mean-
stage, something with the stage.
Well,
Is that
yeah,
the
that
sliding
Well,
would
this, that stage door was gonna get done with the demo process
be, yeah.
and stuff, but we never got to the demo. But that's what, is that gonna be included with this 30,000?
Or you
That's-
could, I mean, again, the
That's what I'm
list,
trying to figure out where we came up with a number of 30,000, that's what, I'm just
I
trying to
think
figure
at the
out.
last meeting it was discussed, it was about 20. They were,
It's
everybody
25
was
was the
thinking about
minimum.
20, 25, so I bumped it up to 30.
Well, I know Jared just gave a number, like, you're looking at 20-some $1,000 and for that list, but Roger gives that list every year. So
Well,
that's
we
what
wanna
I'm
try
trying
and
to
get some
figure
of
out.
it done. We're not gonna get
Also,
everything done.
jumping- That's one question.
We're
what are
not
we
gonna get
try to do
everything
with
done
it?
with
But then here, let's
$30,000.
say you get this one, all right, you go forward. Now you go through DCNR, you talk to that park liaison, who just attended class, I know who this person is, and their email that we're supposed to contact for Berks County. You work with her, and you say, hey, now instead of annually, or every 2 years doing this mulch, I'd like to apply for this improvement, and it also meets 88, which is right up their alley. That was one of
Well,
the things
that's
stressed.
what-
Do you
why-
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
So
but
that
that's
you
what I was
build,
questioning.
you get one
Well,
grant, you build, phase 2, you build again.
Well, that's what I was questioning, what
This
was
is
in
just
this,
the
what was in
start.
this phase?
It's just the
So,
start.
so,
Because you haven't done anything, because you haven't had the money, plus the park rentals aren't pulling in enough money for
correct.
you to do these improvements. So I was
But-
just asked to do the base for Rogers repairs, his
Yes.
wish list for now. But I love the long-term approach you're coming with, and there are, like I just told Jerry, there are other pure park and rec grants exactly for that.
Well, that's good, that's why I was just questioning, like,
But
what's
it'll
this,
tie you over.
what's this starting with, to
Yeah, I would say the mulch starts, and then you build,
okay.
okay? So, if, I
That's
mean,
what-
yeah, if you would like, go ahead, authorize it, I don't have to submit it, but that's what I'm recommending,
Any
is
other
that you
comment?
go for the 30 and,
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we apply for this LSA grant. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it.
would you like me to send the PowerPoint of the presentation you just attended?
I think it'd be good to get everybody
Would you like
in the
that?
loop, you know, because there's been
And
too
that's
many
resolution.
side deals going all the time, okay?
It's on the agenda.
Yeah, let
Ten
me,
dash
um,
2004.
Okay, yep, 10, yep,
It's 10.
okay. And you need how many signed copies?
I have two. I have the two there.
Okay, we'll get them at the end of the
I have
meeting
them
then.
there.
All right.
Right, just like I did last month, what I did is I followed up with that email. I'll follow up with the email and attach the information that I can, including the grants and some deadlines, so you have some more information on the LSAs, the park and rec, multimodals. There are all sorts, you don't really have traffic signals, which is green light go. But there are all sorts of opportunities. And then in advance of choosing to go through those, yes, I would be glad to write a proposal of what it would cost our office to prepare that, so you know in advance,
Right.
this can reward.
Right.
Okay, moving forward, that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, yes.
Do you need a list of contractors?
Yes, please.
Oh,
You can email me unless you have
Okay,
them
yeah.
off the top of your head.
Well, yeah, Patriot, seamless gutter, on the back gutter and downspout. Like I said, Jeff Schlichter was the last one to paint the building. He painted the outside, and the face and the front.
Slipter?
I can get you that spelling later.
Yes,
I have his
I
last name.
butchered that.
As far as the interior door, maybe Brian Strasser might be interested. He's doing smaller jobs and he may be interested, just to give us a price on the ceiling. You know, I was always trying to get Roger away from putting corrugated ceiling tiles up there, because if a kid throws a ball against it, it's damaging. How do you change a piece?
Without it.
You know,
Safety,
so
yeah.
we had talked about putting chicken wire up just to keep the birds out of the rafters.
They do have products very inexpensive. Ben could probably do them. It is a plastic type bird netting, so the
We
type.
have it in the soul shed.
Yeah, it's tiny, tiny, tiny that they can't squeeze through. It's just staple
Okay.
gun. You know, the sound effect of the staple gun.
Yep. The 2 loads of mulch would be Hawk Valley.
Yeah,
Hawk Valley.
Hawk.
That's where we usually get it from.
they're up out of Kempton.
Schroeder, right? Andy Schroeder.
Mm.
It's like Patriot for gutter, Jeff Schlichter for painting, the door and carpentry, Brian Strasser, Hawk Valley for mulch. Pressure washing I would assign to the painting.
Painter, yeah. And the reason for the rain gutter was to keep the mold from growing on the backside.
Yeah, rain gutter is
Yep.
just a separate
That'll take care of it.
contractor, right? So those are the main 1, 2, 3, 4, I would say the main 4 contractors, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, go with that.
Okay,
All right.
Mhm.
All right, number 2.
The 61, the Route 61 project. I sent you guys an email. I attended the PennDOT meeting, which was at Hamburg, to find out what was gonna happen in basically Windsor's portion. Where they're running 61, basically what they're gonna do is they're making a turnaround, because they're gonna barriers, so from Oricksburg to Leesport, it's gonna be a full barrier. You won't be able to turn left or right on 61 anymore. You'll only be able to go one way, so,
Warwicksburg? Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So, instead of just using the turnarounds, you know, right up on 78, where you could go the other way if you want to go the other way, they're gonna make a turnaround lane in Hamburg to go south, and for people coming, you know, from the side roads to go that way and then turn around. So basically, they're taking 2.5 feet on each side of 61 for all the properties in Windsor Township along Route 61, but nothing more.
And that affects all the private property owners along.
All the private property owners along 61.
And they're paying them for that property, that,
Yeah, we've already been paid. The municipal authority's already been paid for our piece.
Then
It
I'm
was like
assuming,
$1,500.
that they've already.
Yeah, they're probably through that process.
Okay, all right. They didn't discuss
when
that.
did they do that?
I think we got
Oh,
check
that's a
payment
question.
a month or 2 ago. They did the surveying and that stuff and seeing what they needed for the shoulder and that, because they're actually gonna have a staging area on our
The
property.
fact is, the barrier is going in no matter what.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen because of the head-on collision rate.
Mm-hmm.
What's being argued is the turnaround in Hamburg.
Where in Hamburg can you?
They're
describe
gonna,
that for
so
us?
where Coppers and Alton Kia is, they're gonna, in between that, they're gonna get rid of all that and make that a turnaround. But the problem is it only fits 2 tractor trailer trucks in each light, and it adds an extra light on 61. So it is being argued right now. That portion.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put 20 feet of fill in.
Yep.
Okay, from our side of view,
Mhm.
has anything come through about putting homes in up at the old Woodland Barn property, at the end of Hawk Ridge Drive?
Nothing's come up yet.
Because I know Dave King was interested in putting homes there and he backed out of it. But,
Well,
the
I
whole
think-
problem with that thing was, when my dad was on council, they wanted to open up South 7th Street through Hawk Ridge, through the cul-de-sac that's down below it, and connect 7th Street with Hawk Ridge, just to ease the traffic down at 4th and Hawk Ridge Drive.
Mhm.
Well, 2 people that lived on 7th Street got on council and got it shot down.
Oh, okay.
So it never went through. So they talked about putting a traffic light down there, but it was $375,000, and the borough didn't want to spend that. So they said, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Now, if that development goes in, now you have more traffic coming down Hawk Ridge Drive. But I think, are they putting a light there? There will be a light at 4th and Hawk Ridge if this jug handle goes through.
Yeah,
Yes.
if the, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But the
No, the last meeting I just had,
Or they change it again?
they changed it. It's all changed, because I
Did
think
they go
Hawk
back to
Ridge
the
is
four-way
actually,
stop?
I think Hawk Ridge is blocked off now. They're thinking, I'm almost positive,
Well, it's nice to notify the businesses on Hawk Ridge Drive.
they're thinking about changing that. There's 2 sets of plans now. There is yes with the light, but they're also thinking about where is that where the Rite Aid comes down?
No, that's Woodland.
Oh, I'm thinking Woodland then.
Yeah, Woodland, I heard that was gonna be closed.
Woodland would be changed. That's Woodland, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong street, I'm sorry. I think Hawk Ridge would have a light, yes.
Yeah, Hawk Ridge has a light.
Yes.
Woodland would be changed.
I'm on
Because
the-
you can't, you can't
I'm-
take that traffic and force it across private property,
No,
like in front of Red.
no, I think they would make them go up. I think they would close it further up is what they were looking
But
at.
that's what I'm saying, that's kind of the point that I was trying to push to Amy and Hamburg.
Mm,
I said, you know, if you're forcing all that traffic down on 4th Street, you're gonna have long lines, especially if you put townhouses in up above.
But
I said,
that's
by
the main-
opening 7th Street
yeah,
up, you could go down Maple, Arch, or Windsor.
that's the main point of contention, is the fact that these trucks will come off 61 because you have logistics buildings right
And
there.
turn around.
When they turn around, it only fits
Yeah.
2 trucks. Well, 2 trucks here, 2 trucks, we all know 61, they're gonna be backed up, so they're gonna cause an issue. Then they wanted to make it one way up to a certain point at 4th Street. So they have ideas, I'm just saying, I don't think, and the Senator is it Senator Gebhardt? Senator Gebhardt and Representative Barton are both adamantly against it.
Just that piece.
Christian Linebacker against it as well. They do not want to have, and all the businesses there are fighting for the turn, to have the turn handle. The barrier is happening no matter what. So in Windsor Township's portion, the barrier will happen.
But it's not fair to the people, just like Worley's. If I'm heading north and I wanna go to Worley's, I have to have some place to turn around. Where am I gonna turn around? That jug handle is
if
just a
it's
piece of the
not-
puzzle.
If it's not there, you'd have to go all the way up to the interchange, or, somewhere.
Or down Grand Street.
Yeah, correct.
That's, that's just a piece of the puzzle. And they wanna just take that piece out.
But I
and
think
create a lot of
PennDOT,
problems.
in that meeting, PennDOT had a rude awakening with all the things they are missing on all that. Because it creates a water issue out of this world.
Oh, I'm sure.
That they didn't even realize that after Coppers,
They have to build them to 20 feet.
it drops.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that. There was no account of that in their plans. So I think it's still a mess, but I just wanted to let you know that 2025 will be the start of that barrier project.
Are they going from Leesport north or?
I think they're
towards
coming south.
So from our standpoint, you're just telling us, there's nothing we can say or do or just,
I think we absolutely could write a letter, we could absolutely contact PennDOT, we could probably even set up a meeting with PennDOT. That's not I don't think that'd be a problem.
I mean, you have to represent the people on the
Mhm.
west side of
It-
61 because it's not just for the businesses, there's a lot of residents there.
So if we had an issue of that nature, we easily could, because again, we have a senator or representative, and our representative that has an office right here, who, I think his name is Jamie as well, actually. He's in there all the time. We can give him a letter that he would take with, they are fighting a lot of this, even the barrier portions. of it.
You said, just refresh my memory, from Orvicksburg to where?
Or it's worth Leesport.
Leesport.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes, you mentioned Worley's, it's gonna go all the way down through Shoemakersville? the whole way?
Yeah,
So are they closing any of those turns now?
no, I mean, I think that's just gonna happen as they go down.
I mean, there's some,
Sorry,
one comes, I'm sorry, I'm thinking here, across from the camper place and between the camper place and
Berks.
The
Suzanne's.
barrier's already there.
Oh, the barriers are.
But there's a turn, you can turn right.
See, I think you could turn in.
Are they gonna keep that?
Yeah, you can still turn in.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna eliminate
Yeah,
that
it's
one,
just,
okay.
it's to keep people, what's happening is these left turns across 61 and they're stopped.
Yeah.
And then they're getting smacked, rear-ended or whatever. They said the
Because there's no
percentages.
turning lane,
Exactly.
okay.
They said the percentages went up 74%. They asked to see the crash data. That's not, it's confidential. We can't see the crash data.
Well, that's another thing with Woodland Road. If they do put townhouses up there and, there's an accident on Fourth Street or, Hawk Ridge, how do you guys get out to those houses if Woodland Road is cut off?
It's gonna be a matter of making the loop, or you're gonna be going against the dead end traffic again.
You'd have to go up either that or go up Merkle.
Again, I don't think their planning for this is, I've never seen PennDOT so far off in my entire life. Because that meeting, Representative Linebaugh as well, or Commissioner Linebaugh, excuse me, he was giving them everything he could because that plan was ridiculous. It didn't account for so many different things.
Well, when this happened about 3-4 years ago, we had a meeting down at Perry Township. And I went to it and I said, well, okay, I'm working on the road crew. I'm plowing the streets in Hamburg. They wanted us to plow the extension lane heading north. They were gonna add another lane so more traffic could get off the main run to come into town. I said, how are we gonna do that with the barriers there? We're gonna have to go all the way down to the warehouses and turn around and come back up just to plow that lane.
Yeah.
There was no solution.
And there's no solutions for any of the questions that we asked at that
We
meeting.
had addressed because we know what's gonna happen. Hughes Hill right now, with the tractor trailer and packed the warehouses, that turns into a dead lane. We get in the wintertime, it's gonna be a parking lot from the top of Hughes Hill, straight down to the light, past into the construction zone. We already know that's gonna happen this year, and going into it, depending on how long the construction period is.
Yeah.
They have no accounts of what to do with that traffic.
And the other
Their
big,
solution is put it back in the borough, group them out, Grand Street, but we know that's a failure.
the other big public outcry that was in the public comment section was all those trucks probably instead of making turns you're gonna increase traffic on 4th Street with tractor trailer trucks, which can't even handle what they're doing now. And they had no tractor trailer trucks aren't a problem on 4th Street.
What?
That's because they own the street.
But it's the most outrageous claim. I'm just saying, the whole meeting was, and I think for a minute, I think we could write a letter and state our support, like, hey, we have some concerns about this project.
So Craig, do you write that letter?
We could.
It should come out Township letterhead, yes.
The concerns being,
Well, if you have some concerns or you'd like to meet with somebody and discuss, or see a
well,
plan,
representing our
have any of you
residents and
seen a
businesses on
plan?
I've not
61,
seen
how this
anything.
is gonna affect them.
Exactly.
So they haven't set up like a website that you can go look at these
No.
plans?
No, that's the
So
problem.
the public.
We saw those plans again for the
for
first
the
time.
first time.
The chief of police was like, you just changed it again. From what I saw 10 days ago,
Yeah, that's.
I now have another
That's when the
plan.
discontention,
They
every time
keep
they come to the
changing.
table, it's a new plan sets, you never prepared.
Because
what
this time they were
trying to
taking a
accomplish.
portion, there's coppers, and then there used to be a little short, it was Wheat Next Archery. It's right at the end of that
To
building.
fix it.
Yeah, they're gonna cut through that on this new plan. And it's like,
Well, they're taking land from out and.
but they didn't, 10 days ago, those attorneys didn't know that was happening. So now we're
Oh.
seeing a new plan. That's what I'm saying, you guys should see a plan. I mean, absolutely, that's part of your township. Perry Township has seen a plan.
But it's
Really?
probably changed by now.
Well, they, you know what I mean, they get that, they had top floor, because it starts,
It starts at the warehouse.
starts at the warehouse.
Yeah, it does, at the Swazik and
And it
And
was-
of course,
it
the
was
warehouses
supposed
were
to-
concerned, so a representative from there was concerned, so they, of course, they saw a plan before we ever saw a plan.
And it was supposed to, originally, that project was supposed to go to the school.
If there is a concern, maybe I could, or I'll just
Why don't you
send
work
an
with
email.
Craig, why don't you, suggestion, maybe give bullet points to Craig? Your concerns, Dave's
Yeah.
concerns, Ryan's feedback, get one email together, Craig can write the letter, and issue it to Gebhardt.
I could just I just want to reach out to, I run into him daily, Barton's assistant, just to say, hey,
We need a
about
plan,
getting a
Jim.
plan, yeah.
At least a
At least an
plan.
email or PDF that I could send to you guys.
Is there any other meeting scheduled?
Nothing as of now. I will be attending the other ones going forward as well.
When's the next meeting, Ryan?
They did not announce anything yet. Any further questions or zoning concerns? So for the zoning report, we had a zoning hearing for Maple Lane, to allow accessory structure without a principal structure has passed. Current violations, still dealing with 118 Southeast Drive. 1181 Windsor Castle, I received a complaint of driveway. They installed a second driveway, so I sent, I posted the property. They're currently getting an HOP. They sent me a copy of their application. And then 450 Creek Road, which was very nice. I was given this from
You know, me and
Pamela
Pamela.
over here. Yes, I'm sorry. I was my mom's name too. So I got a complaint that they built this property, whole thing, without a permit. I sent a notice of violation. I went and went to the property and found out it's built in a floodplain. So I needed to get a surveyor and a floodplain engineer to get the survey elevations, and he has to pick the building up out of that elevation, get the proper permitting for the driveway. We actually caught this because he was using an address associated with his neighbor. So that's how we caught this. And also, it sounds like Berks County is gonna readdress all of that land. That has nothing to do with me, that's them.
What that is called the ferment, and that was the email where I attached that ferment. What it shows is this is a studied floodplain, so you actually have elevations. So this makes it easier for Ryan to do the enforcement, to say, here's the elevation, you gotta raise it. So why they mean the surveyor and the engineer is those forms that are FEMA forms have to be completed by these certified individuals. And your regs require the lowest habitable floor to be 1.5 feet above the base flood elevation. They need to be raised, it's 2 feet?
2 feet.
The home actually needs, so it's below the base flood elevation. So,
So my question here is, you know, all this comes back to this financial report, okay? These questions, right? So this individual, which I have no idea who he is, or I have nothing for or against him, so I'm neutral about it,
Sure.
I don't know.
Understand.
You drive down 143, you can't see the property.
No.
So so we are, the township's incurring all this cost to get this issue. Russell might write a letter, you guys are doing engineering fees. Are we getting reimbursed for all these costs from this party?
You don't get reimbursed for code enforcement.
You have to break even. You can't use code enforcement to make money.
Well, I'm not saying make money, but are we covering
Oh,
our
I
costs?
understand what you're saying.
But we're not covering our costs.
No township covers their costs with code enforcement.
That's why you adjust the fee schedule if you know you're losing money. And we do that every January.
and now's the time to look at it.
Okay. That's
So
why I
that
brought this.
if he needs a zoning permit, he needs this permit or that permit,
I will double his costs
because he
for
worked
the
with that.
permit.
Right.
No, I'm
No,
just
I'm-
using this one as an example.
And I'm just stating that's one of the things we try to do to say, hey, I had to go out there
Mhm.
some of my time, hopefully.
That's why I'm saying we need to look at all this stuff, so we're not in the red. Right, Ben?
I don't look at
You look at other things. You're shaking your head there. Okay, move
Well,
on.
Do you want Ryan and I to send you a copy of the current rate table schedule so that you can see that?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yes.
Because if you want to make revisions, it could be done,
Yeah.
it should be done now because we're sending out those new rate tables. So that in January, when you adopt all your new fee schedules, that's part of your resolution. And you might want to look at zoning and enforcement too.
Any questions?
That's it.
Okay, so that was zoning. And then I think that there
Just your SEO report.
was there anything on the activity reports? You have this all in your attachment.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I don't have that. I don't know the name, but-
No, I'm just making sure that.
Is there any permit pulled on, Windsor Street, Windsor Castle Road for a, looked like work on the sand mountain? It was at the
There's 836. Yeah,
Okay.
that's second
You know
to
who that
last.
is,
Yeah.
Eller.
that was next to Joyce Clay. Joyce
Yeah,
Clay.
is that-
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
He
That's the
referenced
one.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw the stone this morning,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and it just wasn't covered with sand.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, second to last entry on the SEO report.
Yep, okay.
And then next month you'll have the more current, probably for everything.
Yeah, and Shannon's working.
Yeah, I think the last thing.
Great, that's shit.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you. Really bad
That's okay.
Okay.
You have no excuse with my name if your mother's the
Yeah,
same name.
same name.
All right, so that concludes our report. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless there's any other questions?
Any comments? Nope, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. All right, fire service report. What do you have, Jerry?
We're at 712 calls for the year as of this evening here. Things have been picking up. We did submit the USDA loan application, pre-application, I'm sorry, for the rescue loan for the apparatus replacement plan that we have in place. Scott spent countless hours gathering and supporting documents from the townships, loan information, financial statements, reports for that process. So we're making headway on the rescue loan application. We are accepting rentals going into 2025 for the field house. We will be holding a Black Friday boot drive that we've done years up at Cabela Drive as a fundraiser. So we'll be doing that for Black Friday. We did receive an LSA grant for $70,000 for an emergency generator for the firehouse for infrastructure improvements. So thank you to everybody for that. And we will be doing some debt reduction. Scott was able to clear some funds to pay off the rescue engine early in preparation for the new loan for the rescue. So kind of able to do that in about 8 months early. So we saved some funds there. And should I wait to bring up the other topic or do it now underneath this?
Yeah, do it.
Study.
That meeting you were at, the EMA?
Yeah, should I
Yeah, do
that
it now.
Okay.
Yeah, take care of it.
So on October 28th, I was asked to attend, they're doing a countywide EMS study throughout Berks County. The county did provide funding for a study to be conducted on the EMS services here in Berks County with all the local municipalities. I provided a copy of that report to the supervisors with some suggestions that I have on the direction to take with this. The EMS system in the United States is failing. It's failing in the state, it's failing in the county, it's failing on the local organizational level. They're not getting their funding through the Medicaid system and reimbursements, and because of that, they're unable to support the EMS side of it. I had provided just an update
to the supervisors, I guess under direction, because there were representatives. We are serviced by Hamburg EMS here in Windsor, which is also used in Hamburg and Tilden, parts of Greenwich, parts of Albany. So there were representatives from Tilden and Hamburg there. I was the Windsor rep, to go. And I made some recommendations to the supervisors on kind of the direction, because there's a big financial crisis. They can't keep the doors open, it's coming down to. And there's 2 EMS agencies in Berks County that are on the verge of pretty much closing the door. I don't know, and it wasn't disclosed if that is our local provider or not, but I do know there's a lot of challenges that our local provider is seeing. So as a municipality, we're probably gonna have to look at this in the near future. There's gonna have to be some give and take with that organization on what they provide back to the township as far as records and the direction of what they need to do. So I just gave the general recommendation that I think at some point we're gonna have to, as a township, delve into this on some type of study to integrate the other 2 municipalities in with that organization. They're gonna have to open up their books. They're gonna have to present information, especially if they wanna try to seek funding support. Which I know the ugly thing that nobody wants to hear is a tax increase, but it's kind of one of the directions of the recommendations that's kind of coming out on how to have a tax that's generated to support the EMS. So, my recommendation is I still think that, as we did with the fire service, that there should probably form an EMS steering committee to investigate it further and to start delving into what the needs are for EMS. So I know it's going to be a formation of another committee, another set of meetings for everybody, but there's definitely a crisis. There's definitely things that we're going to have to look at on behalf of the township, and what emergency services as a whole is going to be rendered, to everybody living here in the township. My fear is that we still haven't figured out the ultimate long-term goal of the fire service, and now we need to look at EMS. Thank God we don't have policing for now, but I mean, it's another avenue of where emergency service is kind of going at. So it's another project that the township's gonna have to look at long-term, for the residents, so.
Did you read the email, Russell?
I have not had a chance to review it.
There's a part of an email that really bothered me, the fact that when people are insured and they're using the ambulance service, the insurance companies are sending the money for the ambulance to go to the ambulance service, and instead of sending it to the ambulance, they're spending it on other bills.
Well, the problem is that most DMSs are out of network. So if you have health insurance, they can't pay directly.
Correct, yeah.
Is that something that legislators need to change?
That was one of the items that was discussed, and there's a lot of lobbyists that are against that concept, but it is what needs to happen.
Why are they against it? Do you have any idea?
The state is just big on lobbyists for the insurance agencies, and
The state comes back and says the insurance lobby is the largest lobby in Harrisburg.
Well, it's the same with you guys when you try and
it's the
get
same
your
concept,
money.
just on the other shoes. So,
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the insurance lobby is the biggest lobby.
And unfortunately, with a lot of folks, I mean, they're struggling. So if they're able to get a $500 check because, yes, they went to the hospital or an ambulance, and that check's issued back to them, and they can't support their electric or oil, where are they gonna take that $500 and put it on? It's gonna definitely go back into the oil tank or another bill, and they're just gonna make it a wash and take it to collections, and, who cares what your credit is with some folks? And it's not trying to stereotype on anything, but it's the reality of where we're at in the world.
Well,
People are struggling. So.
Now, I talked to Amy today about this, and she said that there's some pushback on council, from some of the council members about the ambulance doing transports or transfers.
So,
But that's how they
I
make
agree
their
with
money.
Dave on that, yeah. There is pushback on
Yeah, they, you know, the ambulance will use that service to make money to help
Right.
them solve it, keep them
Exactly.
solvent. But not, didn't you say earlier that they wanted to put an addition on the building?
Well, yeah, look at an improvement,
So,
yeah.
one of the reality things is if you were to take away that transport contract that they do have right now in Hamburg, there's not a promising future for the current structure of things. But what's kind of keeping them afloat is that money revenue that's coming in from that contract, so it's.
Well, is there some way that we can show our support for them to keep doing that? You know, because it's just not, well, we're gonna let the 7 council people in Hamburg decide this for everybody.
So there is, however, and I'm gonna speak as a resident, and this is not as your EMC or the fire chief. I have concerns on their operating guidelines from things that I've heard, where they are taking priority, even though they've published that they're not. They are placing transports above 911 service, and their duties is to provide 911 service before transports. But what's the guaranteed funding program? Transports.
Can Dave Macbeth find that out for us?
So that was kind of one of the benefits that we have is we have David Beth, who sits on the Fire Service Advisory Board. His career has been in EMS essentially. He's ran a number of EMS agencies. My suggestion is if we were to go and to form that committee, he is the man that would know a lot of the ins and outs of that side of the house. And I don't have the time to know as much as what he does. He's lived it, but he is a resource that is invaluable to everybody here on to use for this. So that would definitely be a recommendation.
I had some other clients get back to us and explaining they attended some other meetings in other locations. And what disturbed me is that there are total communities that don't contribute to their EMS at all, period. The other thing is at the meeting, there wasn't any discussion on what is a fair amount, like either per person, per household. I'm blessed. I live in a borough that pays for that. That's part of my taxes. I don't have to worry about it. My mom, when she lived with me, transported multiple times. Peace of mind, huge. Huge, because they contributed to the EMS directly out of the tax fund. But to hear that there are municipalities that totally ignore the EMS, don't give them 1 cent, is deplorable. So that's what upsets me. It's not just that the people are keeping the checks, which I've heard repeatedly for years. And
Yeah, this is
even
going
if
to
the
be
people are wealthy enough that they don't forward the check.
Yeah, and either way you look at the bigger picture, if you look at the bigger picture of where the fire service and EMS is, it's not a cheap endeavor to take on.
Yeah, I think we could
Unfortunately,
about
like there's just no way to look at it any other way.
Well, Pam, I hear what you're saying, okay? Here's mentally my problem, okay? The health insurance industry is charging the employer and the family plan somewhere after the premiums and deductibles in the mid-20s, all right? That's what it costs for a family plan before you get benefits, in the mid-20s, right? And in that, we're entitled to, you know, whatever those services are, and also ambulance service, right? So why am I going to pay the premiums and then turn around and give donations to the EMS? Where's this money going, okay? You follow me?
But I don't think I have coverage for ambulance like I do because of my taxes through Shillington Borough.
Okay.
That's my point. It would be out of pocket.
So Jared, if they get this master plan put together, what are they envisioning? No insurance payments and it
They
all
have
comes
not
through?
released it yet because I don't think they've gotten that far. They're almost like they're leaving it up to the municipal level to figure it out.
But what I'm saying is there's gonna be a patchwork of, you know, programs,
Yeah.
and the insurance is still gonna be paid, and there's gonna be services provided, that money's gonna go there, plus we're supposed to pay taxes, so we're residents are paying twice.
I don't have the answer to that. Like I said, it's a whole other animal that it's going to take a lot of time to sit in to really digest it.
But you give money to the EMS. this municipality gives money.
Mhm.
Yeah, we gave them 6,400.
My point is, there's multiple municipalities out there, don't give 1 cent. And your $3 is not enough to spread out. And Lower Heidelberg's $3 or whoever
You
else.
say $3.
I think you
It's
said $3
basically
per
like
person.
$3.
Oh, that.
No,
Okay.
because
That's
it's
what
not
we're
enough
giving right
to
now.
offset the
I mean, we're talking
non.
about a whole other set, because you're gonna have, you have payroll involved, you have pensions, healthcare, like just for the employment management side of it, which is costly.
But they're billing about $1,000 a trip.
They are, but $1,000 trip could be a wash depending on who the person is. That's the problem.
They might get nothing.
Some pay and some don't.
Yep.
It's sad.
It's nothing that we're gonna solve tonight, but it's something that we need to put on the radar for the future, so.
See if Dave can find anything out, keep him in the loop on that.
I had not talked to him about it yet, but
Yeah,
I just kinda
I
wanted
haven't
to
talked
wait
to
and
him
see
since
what
he was
you
here
guys
that
thought.
Boy,
but-
it's up here in this mess.
I just know from personal experience.
Any other comment?
I would also suggest that I think like Leslie and them at EMS need to come here to these meetings to hear what they're saying. I mean, I could be speaking out of terms on something, but I'm only going off what I hear now. I think they need to be involved in the meetings. They need to bring their records, open the books, because I know that's been a issue for years with everybody. What are the numbers looking like?
I think they need to get rid of health insurance lobbyists and at the Capitol.
Amen.
That's such a joke.
Yeah.
I as a tax-paying citizen in this state, it makes me sick that we have to lose EMS because we got insurance company.
I mean,
And
we are
those hospitals you
fortunate.
drive by, they don't look too shabby, do they?
I mean,
That's what I mean. But yet
Right, Russell?
I paid $28,000 to have my son in February.
we are fortunate,
Out of
even if you would
Out
have
of
to
pocket.
wait
Out of pocket.
20 or 30 minutes for an ambulance to get here, we're still fortunate. The further north you go, they're waiting an hour till anybody, after they're dispatched, they even get somebody on the road to get them out the door because they can't hire people. And that's the reality.
So Jared, who does the ambulance, it's an ambulance association, who do they, in the Hamburg case, who do they report to?
It would be each one of the municipalities, because at some
Equally.
point, I believe,
Not Hamburg alone.
no, it would be, they service multiple.
So you said the council was controlling if they do these,
No, I just made that statement.
No, yeah, it's.
We wanna be part of that overall decision.
Correct, yeah.
We just we're not gonna let it up to them to make that decision.
If
That
that
was-
keeps
that was fine.
going forward.
So it's gonna be a fact that we're, like I said, I just used the fire service working group where you get all three in the room with them to start discussing this. So,
Good start would be openness on their books.
yeah, I've
Show
not
us
in
where
years
you're at.
seen or heard of
Because
where their
Paul-
books are, yeah.
Paul Jenkins, he had, Amy knows him pretty well,
Mhm.
from being down at Laureldale and stuff. And like I said, I talked to her today and she said Hamburg really isn't in that bad a shape compared to a lot of other ones. I think Kutztown was one that might go down.
Good sounds already.
And I think there was
Yeah,
one
they-
other,
they
I think there was
closed,
two
so.
that were gonna close up.
Closed and sold all their house, the whole property.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit there and Monday night quarterback anything. I know they just sold some used ambulances, and I was told they gave them away at practically scrap value. I mean, I had found that out after the fact, and was like, I wish you would have posted it to say you were, could have given you more than $500 or whatever it was for an ambulance that had low miles on it. But I think that they need to be part of the open discussions with all the municipalities. So.
Yeah, they've never been here, not since I've been here. No one from the ambulance association has ever come.
You don't get a monthly report either on how many calls they answered?
We have contributed every year,
But you get no
Mhm.
monthly
but we
or
have,
annual
we
report?
get no
well,
feedback
maybe
at
you ought
all
to just
from that.
forget to send that check and see what happens.
Or-
Maybe you ought to forget to send the
That
check and see what
statement has
happens.
been made by some other parties, and
And then
maybe
tell
that's
them
what
what
it
you
takes
want.
to get a
The open
Let
transparency.
them call
response,
you.
yeah.
You know?
And they have a board, I mean, they have a board, they're, you know.
That is
Scott
true.
Levinsburg are still on.
Every other municipality I
There's still
think
prominent Hamburg
it's a
people that are
EMS
on that
report.
board.
Right, how many calls?
Even
Where they
Hamburg has
work.
an EMS report.
If Hamburg gets
Yeah.
the EMS report, why doesn't Windsor?
I'm almost
too?
positive.
No.
Don't they get an
I
EMS
don't remember
report?
that, no, Hamburg, they have a fire report, but no EMS.
No, you guys aren't at the, are you, there's that committee meeting before the council meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, then never mind.
Yeah,
Not Hamburg does
they
it.
have it.
I thought they have like 40 committees though, that's why it always confuses me.
No, you're thinking of the Tuesday committee meeting.
Thank you.
That was last night.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They have too many. Thank you.
I
But
know they
other
did the
municipalities
Perry's
do.
meeting, but that was only after they were called out of the carpet on their transport versus 911 priority thing, and then I got blasted there because I questioned them on the fact that they are doing what they're saying they're not doing, but we must be able to provide respect to them. So,
Any other comment? No. All right, thank you, Jared. We're gonna move on to Roadmaster.
Yeah.
What do you have, Ben?
CMS was here and fixed the heater that was broken, the tube heater and stuff. Igniter was broke, so that got replaced and it's been working. Reports were here and did the patchwork on Blue Rocks Road. We got 4 new tires on truck 6 and the 3 new plow tires that need to be replaced. And we've got the Freightliner back from Berman from that power steering work, so that is operational again. And the International's still out at Lola Moyer because they found another broken part when they went to take it apart. So that helped with
In the box.
this was actually the steering shaft was actually cracked too, so. So that, we're waiting for that part to come in now. Truck 6 was in for inspection, which is the 550, but the morning when I took that over, there was antifreeze on the floor. So they said they did a pressure check, the radiator was leaking. The seam was coming apart, so that took a new radiator. But yesterday when I came in, there was oil puddle underneath. So now we have an oil leak, so that went back over to find out if they messed something up when they put the radiator in or if they just didn't tighten hoses. But I took it back over then to look at. So, but we're just pretty much waiting for the trucks to come back so we can get them ready for the winter. Other items to mention. We got donated, well, I donated them because I didn't want them on the scrap pile. There is park benches that are like what we had over at the park. I was given to them to scrap them out, but I brought them here, but they have broken wood on and stuff, so if you want to make them usable, we can get lumber and carriage bolts and paint them, but they were out back here and stuff. There's 8-foot ones. There's 2, I'm gonna call kid sizes. They're 4-foot table, but then they have 4 like benches around them. So they're roughly 7 foot wide. And then there's 6 aluminum steel like park benches that we can set out too, but those need to be cleaned up and painted and stuff. So if you're interested in them, we can get the wood. If not, I'll do what I was gonna do with them and stuff. I'll throw it on the burn pile when we can burn, and I'll pull the scrap metal out.
Well, is there any room that you can keep them downstairs where the mower's at? You know, fix them up and then we have them as backup.
Oh, that's another issue with it. That stage deck is starting to leak. There's a crack going down through it, and that we're starting to get moisture in there. So, yes, I can put them over there, but I'm gonna have to put a tarp on them
No.
and stuff. Because right where we have the mower parked, right now, the water, there's a crack above it, and it's dripping down onto the zero turn off.
Get that,
Your school is falling apart, Carl.
So,
get that flex seal.
well, that's why I kind of questioned what the 30,000 was for, because we're gonna have
Yeah,
other
we
work coming
But
up.
like temporary.
Yeah.
I used it in our potato barn. I saved our potato barn.
Yeah. So, but that's.
Be nice to hang on to them at least. That way we have them, if you have to put a tarp on for now.
Well, should I repair some of them? Because they're a lot lighter than half the ones we have.
Yeah, those old ones that have like 20 slats on them.
And stuff,
Yeah, those are
so-
ridiculous.
So, I didn't know if you wanted to fix them up, or just store them, or do what, so. Since I don't know
Any
who's,
comment?
since I don't know who's gonna be over there moving the tables around, because it's usually the cleaning crew that has to move them, so,
And we don't have them anymore.
yeah, so.
I think that's worth it to fix them up.
Because we're looking at 32 by 10/8 if I do all of them and stuff, because there's,
So it's gonna cost a couple $1,000s when it's done,
yeah.
$2,000. And what are you gonna do with these, and once you fix them up?
Well, I can put them over at the park, get rid of the heavy
Yeah,
ones.
the old ones.
We can get rid of them, put them in, but I think there's only 5 of those. So then we have 3 extra, which we probably could put 2 under the pavilion and still keep them
So
out
add
of
that
the
to
weather.
your grant, we need to fix up park benches. Okay.
Well, I think that was one of Roger's
Well,
requests, new picnic
he
tables.
had in for new picnic tables,
Yeah,
but.
they're like
but-
$3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, those are at least $3,000 apiece, so.
So I say we just hold them for the time being and don't fix them just yet, till we see what we get out of this deal.
Well, I will,
Is that a winter project you can do?
I was gone, yeah.
Okay.
Because what I will do is, I will try to put some in the shed over here, and I'll take the other ones over and throw them in over there, just so I don't,
When
that are
will we know
out of the weather.
on that, is there a date?
There is, but they have playing a lot of games where they'll delay it. Typically, I believe it's
It'd have to be-
May.
Didn't have to be in by the end of this month.
It's by the end of this month, which is the 27th because of the holiday. The round in September typically is May, so then the November round would be like summertime, July, August, but they've been playing games where it keeps getting pushed. So we just had a round that I believe should have been done in May, and it was just done.
So in reality, to once we get the grant, we get
It's
the
sometime
contracts.
in 2025, so 2026 would
Yeah.
be the implementation.
We can store them. Of course, coming to that time again, snow, like to replace the 30 broken snow sticks from last year and stuff, get new ones again.
The delineators
Yeah, those sticks
at
I
the,
put out for,
at the pipes.
well, no, for the snow,
Oh,
the
okay.
snow sticks and stuff, so. Since they last roughly 2 years if nobody wipes them out with their vehicles, so.
It's a lot cheaper than having to go fix somebody's yard.
Yep, it's been working. Since we started, it's been working. Got signs to be refaced again, and so figured I'd take them down to Miller. It's 23 signs, so be around $2,000 again and stuff.
That's liquid fuels.
So, and then when we were doing the pipes, like to get some new tools, Christmas presents and stuff. We were doing the pipes. We bent our digging bar pretty good, so like new digging bar. We have a 6-foot level, but you can't read the bubbles anymore, and I can't get replacements. So I looked at that. And then our wrenches, that's what you want to call it. We don't have like a complete set. I'm tired of using a wrench and an adjustable wrench. So should I go up to Surplus and see if they have some? If not, go down to Harbor Freight. and stuff.
Just get them at Harbor Freight, because I was just up at Surplus about, maybe 4 weeks ago, and they didn't have a whole lot of stuff up there, as far as hand tools.
So, that's all I got.
All right, any comment?
Yes, Ben, what are you doing with this time clock issue that we talked about last week?
Ignoring it?
I had,
We paid to find the time clock, so, did you send that to him?
no, I had gotten, there was a Granger flyer that just came out with like 3 samples of time clocks, and I forgot to grab it tonight. I have it at home.
Ben, you can just Google time clocks and pick one out that works.
Did you ever get anything from Granger?
You don't
No.
have an account?
Not from here.
I'll get you
I
that
did
paper
too.
that I got.
I did do my
And you
own
can look
report,
at it.
but not through here.
They have a website too.
Yeah, but they have them on sale right now. I'll give it to you, and you can check it out. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Any other comment? All right, thank you. All right, I know we talked about the park a lot tonight.
No, I do want to go back because I was waiting for the park. I had given you gentlemen some information about the fee comparison. I think you are overall possibly a little on the low side, but the big thing to me, and Russell shared the email that he did do an agreement, right, about 10 years ago or so.
About that, yeah.
Get rid of the cleaners, that all the onus is on the rentee.
I agree.
And a non-refundable deposit, and a refundable deposit, so you have a perk fee, it's the base fee for the rent, but then you have a refundable deposit that then, like Ben was saying, he would swing through, say, oh no, problems, trash is all over the place. They don't get the fee back, because then you're paying them. They would be responsible to clean everything, the bathrooms, the trash, all of that. And that was very, very consistent throughout all the agreements that I sent to all you people.
I agree.
Very consistent.
So here's my only question. If we go down that path and we increase the fee for the rental and we put $150 clean deposit on it, and some people may just decide, you keep the money, go ahead and clean it, okay? I don't want my deposit back. So what do we do then? I like your idea and want to do your idea. I'm just saying, what do we do if they say, clean it for $150? Who's going to do that?
I think it has to be enough that they don't want to leave the money.
Okay,
I was seeing $250.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
enough that,
Yeah,
oh
I'm
man,
not saying-
that's too much.
Yeah, that's
They-
fine.
If they clean it, all the people that are attending, come on, let's everybody clean up. That's what we did. You know, when we rent various places, it's a family effort. Everybody cleans up, we have the checklist, check, 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 all good. Because the person standing in front of you, that loved one that had the party, like, I want my money back.
I agree.
It
So
can't
Russell,
be
you have
too low.
that draft of the old rental agreement, correct?
I do,
Did you send that to Craig and the rest of us?
I can.
Okay, and Craig, can you add that information to it and modify that agreement then? And then we'll review it, make sure it's good
And then next month, decide on
Yes.
what fees you want to set.
yeah, I agree, yeah.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for, because that was the last thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have a handouts, because you already received all the info.
All right, thank you. All right, Solicitor, Mr. Farbiarz.
I think we're starting to quiet down on legal issues.
You just changed yourself.
No, I didn't, well, yes, I did.
That's gonna help here, Russell. That's gonna help here, okay?
Yeah. Well, that's why I bring it up. So I sent an email at the beginning of the conditional use hearing to Mr. Gallagher, asking about whether or not they were filing an appeal. And he did snarkily reply, but they are not filing an appeal. So Mountain Trail Solar is done. I think that issue at this point is resolved. I don't know if they'll come back and try to do something else, but my guess is probably not. And then we have, you know, the various, you know, conditional uses that are sort of hanging out there, but nothing really that's emergent at this point. So, and I don't have anything on the agenda.
Russell, all the costs that we had, you know, with the conditional use, with the mountain trail, should they be invoiced?
You cannot, no,
Right, I mean, at this point, if they don't,
no, that's, you can't invoice them, that would have, you would have had to grant it and that be a condition.
okay, and I'm just,
Yeah.
And what was the total with all the professional fees?
you sure you wanna know?
Yeah.
I'd have to do the arithmetic, but,
Well,
it was
that's, I mean,
substantial.
Brian, you zoomed in to a few of the meetings and you were there, and I mean, Steve was zooming in. I mean, they weren't doing it on their own time. I'd like to know. That it?
That's it?
All right, thank you. On to old business, the Merkle subdivision we took care of. We'll sign those plans at the end of the meeting for you, Carl. Fort Clinton Avenue, is there any, no news?
Nope, none of this.
That's on those signs?
Yep.
Is that Port Clinton Avenue, the signs, the
Mhm.
weight limits?
You wanna order those and move forward? Again, there's,
Is that what you
You
were
have the
referring
list?
to?
I think so, well, this is the one that, who's going to enforce. But you wanna do the signs to start maybe redirecting traffic if they redirect
That was the
themselves.
weight limit signs, right?
That's correct. But again, Borough was not gonna enforce it.
So Dave, you brought that up, what was your point of bringing that up?
As far as what?
You mentioned it there, maybe I'm confused.
It's under old business.
It's just under old business. I didn't know if there was anything new on any of the grants or anything like that that we had applied for.
No,
That was,
that was the wall, like,
Yeah.
that was turned down.
yeah,
But you heard they got a $70,000 grant for the LSA for a generator. That's what I'm saying, these little guys fit in,
yeah,
The
because
wall
we
was
were looking for
massive.
a lot,
almost, yeah. We were pushing
So-
the maximum of the mill.
yeah.
So instead of next meeting talking about that,
Do you
Well-
want them to order the signs?
is that where we're at?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we talk about these things, nothing ever gets closed out, it seems like, okay, so, that's,
Well, that's the whole thing. I wasn't directed, nor Ben was directed to. We've had no other negative feedback, so we're at the point, yes, you could move forward with the signs. But I'm letting you know, it's your expense, but there's no guarantee of any enforcement because there's no entity that's going to enforce.
Do you know, did you get approval from PennDOT to put it up on 61 signs?
The one that I'm looking for is the West Brunswick, we did get approval. The ones on 61, no, we did not get PennDOT approval. But.
Do we need to get that before we get the signs?
But you can get the ones for Hamburg at least.
so let's just
Well,
play,
'cause
go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have two that I can get refaced, that's,
Yeah, that would be
but
great.
I figured I'd get them all at one shot, because we're gonna need posts too for
That's
this.
correct, and your PA1 calls and all that good
So,
stuff.
that's why I was waiting to hear a final on that stuff. So,
So my question is, let's play the hand here, we come to a fork in the road, okay? We are where we are with municipality of Hamburg and enforcing it, so we spend $500 for signs, there's no enforcement, nothing changes, the road gets worse and eventually the road gets closed. Or we do nothing, the road gets worse, and eventually the road's closed.
And you might get some, people redirecting themselves, who knows?
And
this,
which would maybe make the road last another 20 years. I mean, is that what we're looking at here ultimately?
Yes.
right now, if a truck comes down and the road gives out, we're liable. If you had a speed limit sign up and the truck comes down and the road gives out, they're gonna be looking at that truck that it's over the weight limit before they look at us.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking,
So
that's
we're-
why,
We wanted to go further, but we hit that wall with the funding. So now we're going to the next lower step to get the weight limit, even though
We can't enforce
we
it.
can't enforce it, but if something happens,
we're protected,
it takes,
Liability.
it takes some of the liability off of us
okay.
as the township. Because they saw the signs, they ignored them, and they come down and something happened, we don't have all the blame on
Okay.
it, and so,
Makes sense, I just,
so.
Do
that's all.
you want to move forward with ordering all the signs?
Well, if PennDOT says we can't put them out on
They
61,
haven't done.
then we're kind of stuck there too, so.
Well, do they require the square posts?
Yes.
So we'd have to have a different type post just for PennDOT.
Well, I would put them all on square.
Or you're gonna use all square ones?
Yeah.
so we can put these signs in other municipalities then?
Well, we needed their approval.
We have Hamburg's approval.
Hamburg and
We
West
just
Brunswick
need, just
Township.
Yeah.
need, just need the, state.
Because of the being on 61 because of the turn
Yes,
lane.
okay.
So that's why we need theirs.
It's just two.
Yes, yeah.
I think for for my opinion here, for the modest cost, I think we ought to do it. It's up to the other two's opinion and signing it, agree on.
So add them to the other sign.
Well, yeah, because you're ordering
Yeah.
signs, so I thought it's a perfect
I
opportunity.
mean,
to
it's
add
the
it
least we
listed.
can do
That's
at
correct.
this point.
And then, in 2025, if you want to reapply for the wall, the restoration of the 3 walls that are failing out of the 5.
Well, and we have a player in the game too, because this is in Jamie Barton's district.
Right, and the thing is
And
that's,
he asked me, he took it out of his time to ask me the last time I talked to him about it.
the other thing is, that's also an entry point for the Appalachian Trail. And so it would
Yep.
affect the trail
Mhm.
users, which is a huge
Yeah, right.
aspect from Jamie Barton's perspective. So
Okay.
it just got in, but now if we do another round, again, get that support. And he supported it the last time, but now really emphasize, we're doing the weight limit, we posted it. But we can't guarantee that the trucks aren't gonna use it.
And the state can always enforce it out at the other end
Troopers
by
don't-
happenstance.
By happenstance, typically the troopers don't do.
Yeah, they're not
local
gonna sit
enforcement.
out there,
They
but,
don't do local enforcement.
but if they know about it,
Potentially, yeah,
and because they can actually do it in our township,
correct,
they just have to stop at the borough line.
that's correct. Okay. So I'll work with you as to the signs,
Yes.
okay, and then, we'll write a letter to PennDOT requesting those 2 signs be permitted and send them the ordinance and the plan.
If they get, are they gonna, do you have to go out on the highway and put them on?
It's there in the island, we're good.
No, yeah,
We'll
sure.
park the truck on the island.
Just
we're
put
good.
your orange vest on, okay?
It's not-
Oh, the orange vest.
Or the yellow vest, which one? Either one. One of them, okay? Just make yourself seen.
That just makes you a target. You're better
Yeah.
off going out without
Put a
it.
bullseye on your back.
It's, you're better off without lights and everything else. You're safer.
Okey doke. So you got the authorization. All right, that's it on that. Kersher Creek and Caballero.
I gave a copy of the letter to Craig that basically outlined the maintenance period. The maintenance period for that community will end in August of 2025 because we utilized the maintenance period correspondence that was dated February earlier this year to actually do the maintenance period. So Mr. Calario was copied on the letter as well. And then Mr. King, whoever was here, King, I showed him that letter prior so that now he knows when the maintenance period is extended to. The contractor did resolve the erosion and sediment control issues in the basin, so that has been restored. So we're hoping by the time the new extended maintenance period, prior to that, we'll do an inspection and then make sure that we can release that and copy the HOA so they know that is ending. So hopefully that closes the loop on that old business for several months.
All right, if that's it for old business, now the fun part, tentative budget.
I'm here. My wife broke a plumbing fixture. But I told her where the water valve was, so I think it's okay. I think my son grabbed it and couldn't.
What is those for exactly, Dave?
That's for their amount of escrow, the money that they have in escrow yet, they want
What happens is they do Jerry, so you understand, we call them public improvements, like the streets, the stormwater, things like that, so they get escrow, so that the municipality is protected that the developer is going to complete those public improvements. Once those public improvements are done and accepted, then 18-month maintenance period and this is all per the municipal planning code, so it's all the regular way these operate. So they're now in the 18-month maintenance period. It's going to expire in August. So before that expiration, SD goes out and inspects the property, the public improvements in particular. And you see on the last page, you'll see the line items. Those were the public improvements.
Okay, that's what I was missing. I didn't know
Yes.
which project it was for.
Yeah. So this is Kershaw Creek. This is,
to.
yeah, but it's mostly roads, storm sewer improvements. Those are the kind of things that typically in Windsor Township
Yeah,
are the public
okay.
improvements.
Yeah, this was done a while ago.
It was done a while ago, that's
Yes,
correct.
okay.
And they're finally limping along to where it's getting closed out. And if you remember Hamburg, Commerce Park, we did that closeout, where then the LOC was returned. Remember a few months ago?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the similar
Okay.
thing. I don't know if he has a letter of credit or if he has cash or what his financial security is.
Letter of
He has a letter of credit, so it would be the same thing, that he would request the letter of credit to be returned to the bank and the bank would release the remaining funds.
Okay, do you wanna go over the tentative budget?
Well, I think the main thing with this is, I think, everyone has gotten a handout that's entitled Comments for the 2025 Tentative Budget. All right. We talked about this before now, and because of some of the things that were just mentioned as far as responsibility of the township as far as health and safety, and of course that involves the fire protection and ambulance services. If we're going to, you know, obviously as our responsibility, provide funding, it seems as if, as far as the millage rate, ever since I've been involved in the township since 1984, Windsor Township has never had a millage increase. And in fact, we did at one time have a per capita tax, and that was eliminated. And again, this because of the funding that necessary for us to be involved in, as we talked about with the fire brigade. 0.3 mils brings into Windsor Township approximately $40,000. That's nothing to do with the taxes for the real estate transfer tax or the earned income tax. And this is not discussion with the three of us. This is just me looking at the budget. Because of the necessity for funding fire protection and ambulance service, it's recommended that a special tax be initiated. A rate of 0.6 mils would yield approximately $80,000. Also, because of increased costs, if the 0.3 mil real estate levy is increased to 0.6 mils, this would increase the return to approximately $80,000.
And that's a 300% increase.
No, it's an increase.
Yeah, for myself, I can swallow the 0.3 of a mil, because we're already giving basically the fire company $40,000. If we double that, we're giving them the $80,000 that they're asking for this loan and that stuff. But I mean, for the 17 years that I've been here, we've never raised taxes, and we're sitting in a $1.2 million building that's paid for. So I think I'm not in favor of the other 6.6 mils for the other 80,000 as far as this goes.
Talking about retention of the 0.3.
Well, we're basically gonna have 0.3 for your property tax and another 0.3, call it your fire tax, and just give them both of it. We've always been doing that, the fire company. We were at 40,000 for years. And now with this loan application that they're looking for the new vehicle, if we give them another 40,000, that would increase it another 0.3 mils.
Yeah, but I think what Craig's saying, the first point here is, you're only doing this once, not twice. You're only 0.3 times 2, not 0.3 times 3.
0.3 times 3.
No, he's only doubling it. Right now, the income is 40,000, he wants to double it and get 80,000 total,
Right.
and that's it,
Yeah.
is there more?
Right. Well, it depends, but in order for us to provide funding for fire and emergency services, 0.6 mils, a special
Total.
tax of 0.6 mils.
Oh, another, okay, something different, okay.
So you're going,
Separate.
well, you have 0.3 and you wanna go 0.3 plus 0.6.
If we would establish a special tax for emergency services, if that tax would be 0.6 mils, that for that tax would garner about $80,000.
Right, right.
But you're still
okay.
gonna have the 0.3 as the property tax.
And then still have the 0.3 as the property tax.
So you're putting everything up basically 0.6 mils.
Right.
What about an OPT tax?
The what tax?
Occupational privilege tax. I pay one in Hamburg. We have lots of outsiders that we provide emergency medical services for when they come into the township to work. Why don't we have one of them? I think I pay, what is it, $1 or $2 a week for the privilege to work in Hamburg.
I think that was everything. Yeah, I feel like I put,
I thought I paid like 14, it's supposed to be $15 where I live, so, but the discount, I guess,
But
What do you mean,
there's nothing in Windsor though.
You're
Yeah,
talking
we
about-
don't have one in Windsor. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Why aren't we implementing one?
wow.
and what,
It's like a dollar a week.
It's $1, $2 a week. I forgot to look at my paycheck.
You probably get paid every other week.
Yeah.
I think it's.
no, that's a different tax.
That's different. I don't,
Yeah, that's
It's-
the,
It's a privilege
No.
tax, the privilege to work in Hamburg.
What is that?
no, it's something else.
I mean, they can't charge me for using their roads because I already pay for liquid fuels, a tax on fuel.
That's different than
Yeah.
the occupational privilege tax.
I think what you're thinking, that's usually a tax for like a business that's operating in the township. Like a business
How,
privilege tax.
and that's another thing, how are businesses, as far as property tax, taxed the same as a resident? And they are.
How are they?
Yeah, why, I mean, a place like, what's the name of the plastic place out there on Valley Road? Dove, okay, their building is assessed at like $400,000. So they're basically paying, I think it's $440, that's what it's assessed at. I called Becky Reinhardt and got a bunch of numbers. And they're paying, $120, maybe $140 a year in property tax.
Well, the property tax is calculated based on the value of the property. So.
By the millage.
By the millage. So the property, theoretically, if it's a commercial use, it's gonna be valued higher than a residential use.
Yeah, I think they're only valued at $443. I mean, is there anything we can do about that? Because like I said, you have a lot of people that work in there that don't live in the township, but we also provide them with emergency services. Could you call it an emergency services tax?
You can call, it, if you're gonna do a special tax, you can call it an emergency services tax. I mean, it's essentially a fire tax. It's,
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for people out that are coming into the township from outside
Yeah,
and working.
like, I live in, Richmond, but I work in like you work in Bern or you work in, like when I worked in Ole,
It's
I,
one- you
I
pay
paid
1%.
them a
You're talking about
tax.
the LST, the local services
That's
tax.
the
Yeah.
LST,
That's
that's
it.
like the
Took me a
50 some
second.
odd, that's the
I
$52.
thought you would know, because you've got employees anyway. 'cause
That's
you're
not
paying
occupational.
Hamburg, right?
Yeah, I paid it, Hamburg. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
so what-
$52 a
And what is
year.
it called, the
LST, local services tax.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not an occupational
Yeah.
privilege,
Okay.
that's different.
Why don't we have that? I know I'm paying it.
Yeah,
You're paying
I
it.
paid it,
I pay it to Shillington.
Is that something we can implement for next year?
Well, I'm not saying yea or nay, I'm just, my question is, how big of an impact is it? You're concerned people coming into the township work, and looking at the Windsor Township, how many places of business that are here that people are really coming, I mean, how big of an impact is that really?
The state school, the plastic place, the sheet metal workers union, the Lehigh Cement. I mean, people that work for Dick Wesner, people that work at Orley's gas station,
that mushroom.
the mushroom place,
I mean, it's really not
Phoenix Rehab down on 61.
So that gets the people coming in, plus the current residents. I mean,
Well, I don't know that the current residents would pay for it anyway. They're already paying their taxes in the township. They're already paying for emergency services through their local tax. It's just a tax it's just money to help provide for the local for the emergency services for people that aren't living in the township.
so the people who live in the township, what will they pay?
I wouldn't charge them anything personally. It would just be for people outside the township, in my opinion. You're already paying your tax in the
We
township.
have a mercantile tax for all those businesses through the school district.
I don't know how much money it's gonna generate, that's all I'm saying. I don't know.
It's nothing substantial.
You're looking at probably 120 people at most.
I don't know that this is gonna close, it's gonna.
Oh, it's not gonna close the gap, but every little bit helps too.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that you can do. And it requires a withholding by employers so that they would then have to remit that to the tax collector. I mean, generally, it's $1 a week, so, you know, and it's people who are working in the township. So, I mean, it requires an ordinance to be adopted before the end of the year. I mean, it's gonna be tight, because theoretically, you wanna be adopting it and notifying the DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development. They wanna be notified by December 1st of what the rate's gonna be, so that they can include it in the register. You don't have a meeting before that.
Yeah,
It
we don't
doesn't-
have the time.
It's not a bad idea, but I think it's gonna be very tight to get it done and have it be effective for 2025.
Any other comment?
Well, I think there's something to consider, but I think it's just what, because of the time frame for next year, I don't think that's really feasible at this point because of all of the technical things that have to be done.
I think the
Oh, I
same,
agree with that.
could be said for fire tax. I mean, it's not something that, you don't have an ordinance now, so it's something, yeah, could we get an ordinance together and have you adopt it at the December meeting? Sure, but it's gonna be tight to get it in place before the end of the year. I mean, the most practical thing is to increase the millage rate, because
The real estate.
because you just need a resolution, a tax resolution to do that, and, you already have an enabling ordinance on file for that.
Well, Craig, I have a question, but we're talking about this budget planning. Are you going on, basing this off just past experience, looking at,
Yeah,
I mean,
looking at, since I.
I mean, my question was down, do we have road projects lined up, okay? Is there a piece of equipment that needs to be bought? Not a wish list, something that's needed, okay? All this stuff listed, so when the time comes, and we put the projected income in against it.
Well, in
I mean, it just seems like since I've been here, it's just been like, well, we need this, and all of a sudden we want this, and we want, no, we can't, you know, it doesn't seem any laid out plan. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Well, you'd hopefully want to have some kind of long-range plan to some of these things, and in some cases, we have, but I think from my point of view right now is, I think it's important because of the emergency services.
Okay,
So-
I'm not
so
disagreeing.
Either, if, you're saying, Russell, that if we want to do a special fire tax, that obviously that would have to be done, we'd have to have an ordinance and have that done. So because of the time frame, it just seems as if we just have to increase proportionally the millage of our property tax to hopefully increase the income.
I think the simplest solution is to increase the millage rate for next year.
Can they
And,
decrease it?
what?
Can they then decrease it if they
Yes.
establish a special fund?
Right, and then I think next year you need to evaluate whether you want to implement an LST, whether you want to implement a fire tax. You know, I don't think it's something you can decide on November 13th that you want effective for January 1st, just if you're going at the speed of government.
Right.
It just, because I'd rather not rush through something like that.
No, yeah. But back to this LST tax, is there a database that would identify non-residents working in a township? Is there some way to get that number of people?
I thought it's through Berks EIT.
You might be able to get it from Berks EIT. I don't know. I don't know specifically.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just saying is before we get on that path, how big of an impact would it be?
Well, that's my point, is that I think you want, you don't want to shoot from the hip on this sort of stuff. You want to get that data and find out, what's this actually going to generate for us? Because $1 a week is not a big number. And if it's not a lot of people, you know, it may not be worth the effort.
Yeah, that's why I said, is there a database to capture that information somehow?
I would think that Berks CIT would have that data, because that's, but I don't know otherwise. Now, if you want more information on this type of tax, I mean, I just Googled LST tax in PA, but there's a good website on local services tax on the DCED, dced.pa.gov website.
GC.
I'm gonna send out, I'm gonna send out the link to this
Okay.
to everyone.
Department of Community and Economic
Yeah.
Development, that's what
Okay.
that stands for. And
Yes.
that, they are a huge resource.
Right, but there's a lot of information here. I obviously haven't read all of it because I'm talking to you.
When I was at Lower Heidelberg, for example, Jerry, we had a mercantile tax, so that the commercial properties, they paid their real estate millage, but they also paid a certain amount to the school district, because they were commercial. I'm not sure, Craig, if you're getting that
No, I don't
from
think
the
so.
school district.
I don't think there's a differentiation.
So I would look into that as well, because that's the difference between a residential property and commercial property. Commercial property has another layer of a tax. That's to help the school district.
Just the school district.
Right, so, but the school district gives you a certain percentage. They keep an amount, you get an amount. So I think contacting Berks EIT is important. And they have a local office, I think it's at the
Who's going to do that then?
At the AAA, isn't it at the AAA, or is that
I
the
don't know.
Berks EIT at the AAA office? Okay, well, if you Google Berks EIT, I think there's a local office right there in Wyomissing, what I call it.
There was one in Wyomissing. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's, I didn't know it was at the AAA building.
They're the lower level of
Do
the
you get those
AAA.
emails every month from Berks EIT? What we get every month from the club, you know? Can you set him up with that?
I'm
You
sorry.
get that email every month from Berks EIT on what our distribution, he doesn't get that yet. Is there any way you can contact them and get him his email
Well,
address?
when it comes to us, I can just forward it to you guys.
Are any of
Well,
you,
she forwards it, I already get it. I get it every month,
Okay, well, I'll make sure.
and I don't think I
you
get it from you.
are any of you a delegate at Berks EIT with the school district? Yeah, I think there's some layers of questions with Berks EIT.
It just seems as if for this next year, for
Yes.
2025,
Right.
if we want to increase our tax income, we just increase the millage rate on the property tax. And then I think, you know, in subsequent years, we're gonna have to, you know, study this as to what would be other feasible ways too. So I guess the question is what would be the rate for the property tax increase?
And Russ said then you can decrease it if you have other taxes that you are levying, when you take your real estate back down.
Why did you away with the head tax in the first place?
Because apparently it was felt by the board at that time that, that there was, enough funding. You know, and that's my
Yeah.
recollection of that.
Yeah,
That was done relatively long time ago.
Per
Was
capita,
that done before you were on? Cause it wasn't done while
Was
I
done
was
when I
on.
was on.
It was already gone when you were on?
I don't know.
I don't think it's ever been on since I've been on.
So how many residents are in Windsor Township?
2,450 or something like that.
Yeah, around 24.
That's $10.
they can also be hard to collect. Because if people don't remit it directly, and you have to, how much enforcement are you gonna put into collecting a $10 or $25 a head?
You don't have a tax collector?
We do. My understanding is that the per capita taxes can be challenging
Oh, okay, for collection.
for collection.
I mean, yeah, what if you have an apartment? You don't know how many people are living in an apartment unless you're gonna rely on the landlord, and the landlord's not always gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, what have you seen in other places?
Yeah, that's a major issue with that. Especially who was just here for half an apartment with that and what was going on that property. We don't even know how many people live in that area yet.
Any other comment?
No.
So you want a motion to tentatively approve the budget with a 0.6 mil increase? So it'll be 0.9.
Well, I don't understand how we're gonna approve a budget when we don't have a list of items that we're intending. How much money are we spending next year for roads, line painting? Do we need a truck replaced?
Well, that's why it has it there. There's 350,000 that we always keep in reserve
It's also the
for
next
rainy
page.
day fund.
No, what I'm saying to you is there a list of needs for next year?
I mean, 500,000. I mean, I know we spent a lot on roads this year,
Right.
but we don't need to be that aggressive next year.
This second, doesn't he have, did you have a second page?
I do.
Right, and of course, if you look at line item, road maintenance, all of that would be in that category. Totally, the amount that's budgeted for road maintenance for next year is $500,000.
So is there anything in the budget for equipment that we need? Where's that at in here?
Well, that, in that particular case, it would be under road maintenance.
So on the second page, we got, there's the third page, roads and bridges.
Say it again, Jerry, what?
I want to make sure I understand. So you have expenditures on the last page.
Yes, that's expenditures.
Okay, so we have in here, road maintenance, 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start out the year and we spend $300,000 for road maintenance, and then Ben comes in the following month and says the motor blew up on the truck, and it's a 1980 truck and it has so many miles on it, doesn't make any sense. That has to come out of that 500,000.
Yeah, right.
And and what I'm saying is there's no more road maintenance money, okay?
Yep. It could come out of this 350 in reserve. And plus, if you buy a piece of vehicle, or a unit, you can spend, what, 20%
20% with
of
liquid
liquid
fuels.
fuels on that. So we would have to, bear the whole cost, but that's just a reserve fund. And for years, it was 400,000, and I think it was only, about maybe 3-4 years ago that we dropped it to 350. It was always 400,000.
Right.
We've always had that money sitting there.
Okay.
For just such an occasion. So. Any other comment?
Do the public have any comments on this?
Well, no one likes a tax increase, for sure.
Or no one's saying anything?
So what happens is this gets advertised, and there is a public comment meeting.
Oh, there is.
December
Okay,
20th.
so we're not voting on this now.
You're just tentatively approving it, and then it gets advertised, and then there's a meeting on December 26th for the public to come in and get their comments, then you would finally approve it on that.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
It's sort of hard for them to have comments when they haven't seen it
Mhm.
ahead of time.
What kind of millage do other townships charge? You're talking
For their
about
fire
the-
tax?
Yeah.
Way more.
Way more.
real estate tax.
Richmond Township is
Yeah.
nuts. I can look it up.
I mean, the other thing I think where everybody needs to understand is, we went from having no tax at all to all of a sudden a tax. So either way you look at it, it looks ugly, but you also haven't done anything in 20 years. So while it looks ugly on the front end, it's what needs to unfortunately happen to support the service and the big
The other
picture.
problem with millage is every municipality's assessed valuation is different.
Yeah.
Like Hamburg Borough's assessment is more. Hamburg's millage is 5.5, which their fire tax is 0.5. But Hamburg Borough's assessed value is almost double what Windsor is.
Well, they're assessed at, aren't they 9.0?
I forget what it is.
They were like 20 times more than what we paid.
Yeah, but the problem is with millage, yeah, it looks like that, but you gotta look at what the total assessed value of the municipality is.
The property values are
The
lower.
proper
because they're
values are
roads.
different, yes, and then when you go to Tilden exceeds, I can just speak for the three of them with knowing what, Tilden's is higher because you have all that commercial property in Tilden.
If you take the whole county, 0.3 mils is one of the lowest
Yes.
in all of Berks.
We're second lowest, I think.
Yeah.
I paid 7
Yeah.
point something in Shillington Borough.
Yeah, we're second lowest in the county.
Richmond's 9.
Richmond is 9.
Yeah.
Ninth highest.
I just 9. That's all I know. I know it's getting hammered because Fleetwood School is ridiculous.
That's where a lot
I
of
paid
taxes.
$12,000 in school taxes. So the school is ranked like 126th in the state.
Russ, just correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm doing the math, just for a home valued at $100,000, a 0.6 mil increase, is that only $60?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing.
We're currently paying $30.
Okay,
You
so
pay
that's
an
the kind of thing that I
additional
think
So it'd be
the
$90.
residents would then need to understand for
Yeah.
your home value, this is the delta.
I'd move here in a heartbeat. My house is for sale, someone want to buy it. I'll switch with somebody up here.
For under a
I would
mil.
love that.
There's all types of rooms here, you get a bedroom right here.
Yeah.
This building's hardly ever used.
You guys can
once a
charge me, I'll just build one out back.
What do you mean? You can just renovate over here. You got a kitchen, room?
If we would go to 0.6 mils rather than 0.3, it would increase the income for the township approximately $40,000.
Right, so you talked about doubling it, or you talking about tripling it?
Well, what I was talking about is, of course, the idea of establishing a special fire or emergency tax
Yeah,
was not feasible for next year.
right.
So So it all depends upon, do we wanna have that same amount of money coming in? And if we do that, then we just have to do that with our property millage. At this point, I think if we would go from 0.3 to 0.6,
For this year.
that would, for next year, but
Yeah.
with the idea that I think
There may
prudent
be a fire
planning would
tax.
be that for the 2026, that we implement a special tax
And whatever
and
other,
investigate that, throughout the year.
Now that I'm thinking of it, I think I pay a fire tax too.
You probably do.
I do, I pay the fire, within that, there's the fire tax, there's the ambulance tax.
You don't
there's all
realize
that
how-
If you build a house, we're gonna watch.
You
it.
don't realize how good you have it in Windsor. Find me some land.
How much you want?
Thank you.
Just keep it above the floodplain, okay?
Well, it's above the floodplain.
And again, like Russ said, you can take it back down.
You can always adjust it, once you figure out what you want to do with the emergency services tax,
It's sort of a temporary fix.
eventually.
do we need that in the motion to approve the tentative budget?
Yes.
All right, I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Uh,
For the point three millage increase to 0.6,
Okay,
right? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it. And it'll be finalized on the 26th of December.
I have to have that, there's forms that have to be sent for the county for the tax notices, and that has to be done by the 27th or so of December. So we have to have our ducks in a row with this, so that can be, for the notices.
And that meeting on the 26th, like, is it at 3 or 3:30?
3:30, I think.
Just that way the members of the public know that it's not in the evening, it's 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, you made the motion, right?
Yeah. Seconded it. Yeah, because I usually get right off work and come right here.
Yep.
All right. All right, then we'll go on to the other concerns. I brought it up to Amy yesterday about, we lost Dave Fink a couple of weeks ago. And he was, had a lot to do with the township in all the years.
He's
You know,
one of
he
the
was-
authority members.
He was that's where I'm going with this, he was one of the authority members, but he was our vacancy hearing chairman for the longest time. He was very active in the community. So I'm kind of pushing the point that we should have somebody from the township on that board, just because they have a lot of infrastructure under our roads. And there's a lot of issues with them. So Dave had suggested one of his neighbors, someone that lives across the street from him, I don't know his name, and they were gonna contact him, and I also talked to George Rogowski, since he lives on Pondview Drive. He said I talked to him at the King Frost Parade, he said he may be interested in doing it. The only problem is they moved their meetings from 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
And they did.
And he's still working, so I don't know, I haven't talked to him yet to see what he decided. But I don't even know if he could make those meetings, but I'll find out till next month. But they have their meeting next Wednesday.
Remind me again, everybody has 2 representatives on the
One.
authority?
Just one. Tilden has one, and we have
Mike
one.
Quick, right?
Yeah, Mike Quick is for Tilden, and we had Dave
For Windsor,
Windsor, yeah.
okay. But there's all sorts of other people that are at the board.
They're all from Hamburg,
Oh, they're all Hammer.
yeah.
So Tilden and Windsor just get 1?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's 5 of them.
Yeah, there's more than right, it wasn't
Yeah.
like 3, that's all.
But like I said, I'm just pushing the fact that we have a lot of their stuff under our roads.
And look at the dig-ups that's happened recently, they had a water main break and now they're digging up the road you just paved.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we would just recommend a name, but the actual appointment would be for the head of
Yeah.
authority, of course, right?
I guess it would, I don't know.
I don't think you
How
would
does
have
that work?
control on the name.
I think that the issue is that no one has documentation to establish it one way or the other. 'Cause I was contacted by the solicitor of the authority asking me about this.
Chaz?
Chip.
Chippewas.
Yeah.
Chippewas, yes.
And I don't think that they have any of the initial documentation.
The bylaws, nothing?
Yeah, so I think it's a little unclear what the procedure is.
Well, the reason Dave was on, because it was our authority. We had our own authority out here.
Right.
Until Hamburg took it over, and
Right.
he just stayed on.
But I don't know if there's anything in the vaults, Craig, on when that occurred. I mean, that was what, '90s?
In the 90s.
But, when the authority, when we had our authority,
Yeah,
well,
well,
the sewer was put in '79.
yeah, right,
When
and we
did
had
it
our
switch
authority.
over?
But when
but
did
It
it
then
switched
was
over in 2000 and,
Right around the turn, right around.
I was still
2000.
living on Edinburgh when it switched over. It was 2004 or something like that.
But
Then
would
Hamburg
they,
took it over.
but would they argue, since you had a member, why couldn't you replace that member?
I'm not sure there's gonna be an argument.
Oh, okay.
But I think that it would probably be a good idea for the authority to document it.
Yeah.
But
Could you say something to Ty? Because they have their meeting next Wednesday.
I have not said anything to Ty. I heard that he passed.
Huh?
Dave,
Dave?
I have not said anything to Ty. Ty's the representative that
Yeah.
attends the meeting, yes.
I heard that backwards.
Yeah, so did I.
Ty didn't pass.
No, Ty didn't pass.
That's
No.
what it
That's what
sounded
it sounded.
like.
We were like, oh. no.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's
I
me.
misunderstood.
I was like, I guess I didn't
I
see
have
what words
not
there.
heard anything from Ty as to replacing. He hasn't mentioned anything to me. But I could
Put it in his
probably
ear.
mention to him that, yes,
Put a bug in his ear,
Windsor.
say we'd like to have a representative.
I will do that for you, yes.
Because like I said, they meet next Wednesday.
You got it. And if you have a name by then,
Well, like I said, I'll find out if George Rogowski, I don't know, Amy has the gentleman's name that lives out on Roll 22, but we want to have somebody that lives on the system.
yes, oh, absolutely.
Because, and George has a stake in the game because he was one of the ones that came in here, was complaining constantly about Roll 22 and Pondview Drive, because he was driving through it every day. Okay.
Yes, I will do that for you.
All right. Anything else on that?
No.
All right. If nobody has any other concerns?
No,
I'd like to make a motion, we pay the bills, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Oh, I have a comment. Craig, you're gonna check out why we're getting billed double here for Comcast?
Yes, I'll call and
One is
find out.
$270 a month, the other one's $350 a month.
Okay, I'll call and we'll find out the circumstances of that.
Maybe we can get that reversed. I don't know what we're,
Well, like I said, we don't need TV here, as long as we have the internet in here,
what's
that's
that gonna
fine.
do all week?
Watch the birds.
Come on, guys, just had to laugh, okay? Okay,
We'll have to check.
now let's
into it.
check this out,
Do you
okay?
have the phone service through Comcast? Do you
Yeah.
have phones?
Yeah, we have the triple play,
Okay,
but we only need a double play.
exactly. You
Yeah.
don't need a
It's being
TV.
charged, it should just be one bill.
Maybe
Yeah, I
one's,
don't know
maybe
what-
one's for the other building though. Maybe they're not on one.
Yeah, because they won't, we're charged separate bills. with
It's
the
separate
fire
meters,
company.
separate service.
You're gonna have separate service for.
Yeah, they did, they ran an underground wire up to that building, didn't they?
That's a lot of money for two buildings.
Yeah, to get people
It's
internet
Comcast.
over there.
Yeah, it's Comcast.
Yeah, they're
Is
ridiculous.
Blue Ridge out here yet? They're all the way in, they're all the way to Greenwich now.
All we got is
On
Comcast.
140, they came all the way down 143 to 78. I thought I wasn't sure if they came up 120. They're coming up 122.
You can't get here fast enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Blue Ridge is great.
All right, any reason to go into executive session?
No, I won't.
No? All right, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn the meeting, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Um,
Ayes have it.